Hello, learners. So, today we are going to deal with a new chapter, chapter number 8, Composition and Structure of Atmosphere. And this is from book Fundamentals of Physical Geography. So, here, students, first of all, it is very important what is atmosphere. Okay, and students, atmosphere is a mixture of different gases and it involves the earth all round. It contains life giving gases like oxygen for humans and animals and carbon dioxide for plants. Right? Next is what is the importance of atmosphere? So, air is essential to survive of all organism, as you all know, and some organism like humans may survive for some time without food and water, but can't survive even a few minutes without breathing air, right? So um, the air is an integral part of the earth mass, and 99% of the total mass of atmosphere is confined to the height of 32 kilometer from the earth's surface. Right. Now next is what is the average height of atmosphere. The integral part of the earth mass 99%, which I already said to you, and the air is colorless and odorless and can be felt only when it blows as wind. It means you can only feel it, right? Now next thing is uh, about the gases. Okay, so students, carbon dioxide is meteorologically a very important gas, as it is transparent to the incoming solar radiation but opaque to other outgoing terrestrial radiation. It is largely responsible for the greenhouse effect, you can see, and the volume of carbon dioxide has been rising in the past few decades, mainly because of the burning of fossil fuels. This has increased the air temperature. Like ozone is another important component of the atmosphere, found between 10 and 50 kilometer above the earth, and it's filter and observe the ultraviolet rays radiating from the sun, and prevents them from reaching the surface of the earth. Okay, so different gases you can see in the atmosphere, like this is the process you can see in the picture: atmospheric moisture, condensation. Okay, and then how it convert into vapor, right? Next is dust, water, vapor. Okay, so water vapor is in the atmosphere, like these are the key to understanding atmosphere process. Water vapor is the source of all precipitation. um, Water vapor is also a variable gas in the atmosphere. In the warm of wet tropics, it may account for 4% of air by volume. Okay, so water vapor also decreases from the equator towards the pole. Like this is the main center part, equator, and from here you can see uh, it decreases because poles is it is north pole and this side is the south pole. Okay, so here uh, water vapor also decreases from the equator towards the pole. It also absorb parts of the insulation from the sun and preserve the earth radiating, because here in the equator portion you can see यहाँ पे टेम्परेचर थोड़ा हाई होता है. लाइक दिस इज सन का जो इफेक्ट है यहाँ पे डायरेक्ट पड़ता है. ओके, in comparatively in these regions, south pole or north pole. Okay, so some of the example you can see, like cloud, fog, rain, snow, sleet, hail. So these are the example of water vapor. Okay, now next topic is dust particle. So students, dust particle, as atmosphere has a sufficient capacity to keep small solid particles, which may originate from the different source and included sea salts, fine soil, smoke, soot, ash, pollen, dust, disintegrated particles of matters. Okay, so here the higher concentration of dust particle is found in subtropical and temperate region. Okay, subtropical and temperate region में हम सबसे ज़्यादा देख सकते हैं due to dry winds in comparison to equatorial and polar region. So dust and salt particles act as hygroscopic nuclear around which water vapor condense to produce clouds. So through this uh, dust and salt particle act as hydroscopic nuclear around which water vapor condense to produce clouds. So these are the dust particle. It means here you only in our atmosphere we can see like these are the example like sea salt, fine soil, smoke, soot, ash, pollen. These are the dust particles. Okay, through this we can see these dust particles in our atmosphere, right? Then next is gases, right? So student, in gases, carbon dioxide. Okay, gases I have explained already, but it has some points which you can understand. Now next is the structure of the atmosphere. So this is a very important part of this chapter because here we'll discuss about the structure. Okay, structure of the atmosphere. So the atmosphere consists of different layers, as you can see in this picture. Different layers we can see in our atmosphere uh, with varying density and temperature, right? Density is higher near the surface of earth and decreases increasing altitude. जैसे जैसे altitude decrease hota hai, you can see the earth surface of the earth and decreases with increasing altitude. Okay, it will decrease. Here you can see this different layers with the different gases. The column of atmosphere is divided into 5 different layers depending upon the temperature condition. So I'll one by one I'll explain it. So there are some names of the layer of atmosphere. So first of all is troposphere, second is stratosphere, third is mesosphere, and fourth is thermosphere, and the fifth is exosphere. Okay, so first of all we'll talk about the troposphere. So students, troposphere, it is the lowermost layer of the atmosphere. सबसे नीचे वाला जो layer है, and thickness of troposphere is greater at the equator because heat is transported to great heights by strong convectional currents, right? Strong conventional currents की वजह से यहाँ पे you can see the great um, uh, हाइट थिकनेस ऑफ द ट्रोपोस्फेयर ग्रेटर जो है इसका इक्वेटर जो ग्रेट हाइट रहती है एंड एक्सटेंड्स रफली टू हाइट एट 8 किलोमीटर to 8 kilometer near the poles and about 18 kilometer at the equator, right? This layer contains dust particles and vapor. इसमें आप देख सकते हो dust particles and vapor and its average height is 13 kilometer. The temperature in this layer decreases at the rate of 1 degree Celsius for every 160 meter of height. 1 degree Celsius. And the ozone separated the troposphere from stratosphere is known as tropopause. Okay, here tropo sphere from stratosphere is known as tropopause. जो stratosphere और troposphere को separate करता है, the midline is called tropopause. This is the most important layer for all biological activities. Okay, and the next is stratosphere. Stratosphere. So in a stratosphere, it lies above the stratosphere, as you know, which I explained before it. Troposphere after that, stratosphere, and with extends up to height 80 kilometer. Okay, it has mentioned here 50 kilometer, but it is average height is 80. Uh, 50 kilometer, sorry, 50 kilometer. One important feature of the stratosphere is that it contains the ozone layer, right? It contains ozone layer in stratosphere. This layer absorbs ultraviolet radiation and shields on the earth from intense harmful from form of energy, right? Ultraviolet raises को ये जो है यहाँ पे filter करता है. Next is mesosphere. So it lies above the stratosphere, right? And which extends up to height of 80 kilometer, right? It is mentioned here. The upper limit of mesosphere is known as the mesopause. The upper layer of mm, mesosphere is known as mesopause. In this layer, students once again temperature starts decreasing with the increase in altitude and up to minus 100 degrees Celsius at the height of 80 kilometer. Okay, now next is uh, b- before explaining the okay, the thermosphere is here. Thermosphere is located at between 80 and 400 kilometer above the mesosphere, right? And here it contains electrically charged particles known as ions, hence it is known as ion. ये जो यहाँ पे thermosphere है, and radio waves transmitted from the earth are reflected back to the earth by this layer. टेम्परेचर हेयर स्टार्ट्स इंक्रीजिंग विद हाइट. जैसे जैसे टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा वो हाइट के अकॉर्डिंग टेम्परेचर ऑल्सो इंक्रीज. The uppermost layer of atmosphere above reaches up to minus 100. Okay, so here you can see. Next is exosphere. Exosphere, the thermosphere is known as the exosphere. You may say exosphere and thermosphere is the same, right? And it is the highest layer, but very little is known as about it. Okay, so whenever contains are there, these are extremely rare field in this layer, and it gradually merge with the outer space. Okay, so these are the layer and these structure of atmosphere. Students, the diagram of this portion is very important. Now next is the element of weather. Okay, so the main element of atmosphere which are subject to change and which influence human life on the earth are wind, temperature, pressure, humidity, clouds, precipitation. So these are the points elements. In geography especially we study all these elements. Okay, through this whatever the changes is happening in our earth surface, okay, in interior part of the earth, through these all elements. Okay, the changes happen through these all elements like wind, temperature, pressure, humidity, clouds, precipitation. Okay, so these are the elements of weather. So in your syllabus it has not defined, because no need to define it, because you, as you all know, but these are the elements of weather. Okay, one more point which I wanted to discuss with you: what is the relationship between temperature and altitude? When I explained the uh, layer of atmosphere, that time you can see there was some points regarding altitude, regarding temperature and all. So here we'll discuss about the relationship between temperature and altitude. So troposphere, which is the topmost lowermost layer of the atmosphere, so its temperature decreases with altitude. Okay, इसमें क्या होता है कि जैसे जैसे temperature डिक्रीज होता है, इट मीन्स अकॉर्डिंग टू द एल्टीट्यूड, जैसे जैसे हाइट बढ़ती जाती है वैसे टेम्परेचर डिक्रीज होता है. नेक्स्ट इज स्ट्रेटोस्फेयर, टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज टूवर्ड्स द ओजोन लेयर, because in this area ozone layer also be there, and यहाँ पे टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होता है टूवर्ड्स द ओजोन लेयर, ओजोन लेयर की तरफ को. मेसोस्फेयर, टेम्परेचर डिक्रीजेस, कोल्डेस्ट लेयर इज दिस, बिकॉज हेयर टेम्परेचर क्या हो रहा है, डिक्रीज होता है यहाँ पे. थर्मोस्फेयर, टेम्परेचर इंक्रीजेस बिकॉज इट इज द layer which is hottest one. Exosphere, temperature decreases towards outer space. Okay, so students, this is a very short chapter, that's why I took this chapter before your half yearly exam. And one more thing, which is about the gases, like some more gases are there like nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, crypto, xenon, hydrogen. So here you have to learn the formula of these gases also. Okay, like nitrogen formula क्या है, N2, oxygen O2, organ AR, carbon dioxide CO2, neon Ne, helium He, xenon Xe, hydrogen H2. So which you already studied in your previous classes in science subject, so I don't think so I have to explain these all things. So students, you, as you have learned this chapter, you have to revise this. Keep watching this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask to me. Thank you so much, students.